Basically, the project that I'm working on right now, my dissertation, is I'm looking in particular at the activities of the Vilna Troupe and how they were instrumental in creating a Yiddish art theater movement. And the idea of a Yiddish art theater, it's really in some ways, it's part theater history and part intellectual history of this idea of a Yiddish art theater developing over time as part of intellectual discourse among Jews in Eastern Europe and beyond. But I think what I find so fascinating about the interwar Yiddish theater in general, which is a period which is dominated by these dozens of Yiddish art theaters around the globe, is that it is so global. The genesis of the project is that I realized that if I wanted to look at these companies and directors and actors and figures I was really interested in, that they were all engaged in these artistic networks across international, across continental borders, that the people who are involved in these troupes and companies are constantly shifting, and sometimes these companies last for a season or less, sometimes they last for 10, 15, 20 years, but that they're very much built on artistic networks, on correspondence that's occurring very dramatically across continental borders, and often the actors themselves moving incredibly quickly and incredibly frequently between places. So rather than trying to write, about the Yiddish art theater in Eastern Europe, I sort of realized that that's not really possible, and it's not an approach that makes sense, because it's a moving target. It's constantly moving, and the Vilna Troupe in some ways is not only the catalyst for the whole movement and the epicenter of it, but it's also the most moving target of them all. It's the most unstable, the most constantly shifting, traveling in some ways more than any of these other companies, mostly because there are actually multiple Vilna Troupes. People get into fights, they form their own rival Vilna Troupes, and so you have multiple Vilna Troupes traveling with people going back and forth between them across borders in ways that are really exciting and interesting.